started, mate. This is how it starts, like. we've started, mate. This is how it starts, like.
Yeah, and I think I'm the exact same, and I'm still like that to this day. Like, obviously, there's a killer instinct there when you're in competition and you see a weakness and you see someone hurting, the killer instinct there to finish them. But getting in there, I'm not an aggressive person at all. Like, and I think it just comes from your upbringing. But it's not a natural thing to want to be hit. So in kickboxing, you could have all the tall limbs, and you could have all the attributes. But ultimately, if you don't like being hit, which nobody does at first, it kind of you definitely have to have that push and that mentality that you just want to be good at something. You have to have that stubbornness that you just want to keep trying until I'm good at this, because you can have all the attributes you want, but if you get a smack and then you don't want to have any of that, your attributes are useless. So I think you have to have that stubbornness that you want to just be better at something. And if you get stuck in kickboxing, you just want to, just knuckle down, practice every day in order to be better. That has to be there, because it's definitely a sport that you can't just be in it for the fun, because then it comes to getting a smack, and it's that everyone knows that's no crack, So you have to want to be the best, you have to want to just be the best person that you can be at that sport, and that just involves a bit of hard work. So as much as the attributes you have to have the mentality for it, because it's not always fun,
Gerald, sorry, I know your podcast, but I'm going to ask a question to the two of you. Just completely taking over the question. No, the thing that Damo mentioned there was a bit like that. It was the mentality side of it, like, and I mean something that I struggled with for years was nearly getting in my own way, like, like in my head, like I knew my body was prepared, I was fit, I knew how to do whatever I was doing, whether it was like jiu-jitsu or playing football or whatever. But I would get me on way nearly. My head would get in the way of my performance, and only up until maybe 2 years and less, like, where I just started to go, you know what, like, and I noticed it last year, in a race that I done where I was like, wasn't really thinking too much about it, and Matthew was bringing me in the car, into the race, and had no watch or anything, and I was just like to her, whoever's winning this race, I'm just gonna fucking leg it after him, and that was all. That's all I was gonna do, like, So, like, for you lads, was it especially, like, it's really important, that mental side of it, to kind of need to get out of your own way and just be comfortable in that situation of being uncomfortable, you know what I mean? Dealing with that stress, that high arousal before a game or before the competition or whatever. Like, is it something that you lads worked on?
That was my next question anyway. It was like, do you regard physical or mental is more important? So
I think yeah, a bit of both, but I'm the same as yourself. I've lost fights before the fights start, and again, like, I don't mind saying that. Like, it's not like it's not something I'm gonna hold close to my chest, because again, like, it's not like I've learned from those experiences, and I'm hoping every time I go again, I'm hoping that's not gonna happen then again. I'm hoping, I've learned from that experience, but I've definitely the mentality point of view and the sports psychology point of view. I've I've definitely had weaknesses in those areas, and I've definitely lost fights because of me, my mind frame not being right, and not being 100% there at that time and in the moment, and psyching myself out. But again, you learn from those experiences, and they build character. I find they definitely have built me to be a stronger person, and just an overall human being, just to be mentally a lot stronger, through hard times, and just in life in general. But like, there's been a few experiences where I've been away. You're sitting there just scrolling through your phone, at pointless shit on social media. You see things his friends are saying. You see things that about to fight tomorrow, and you're just psyching yourself out. And that's just it's really bad that you allow things like that to happen. And I've learned from experiences like that. But like I said, I've had three losses on the road, and they've all been 5-round title fights, and they've all been in people's back gardens, and you're just kind of like, fucking, you're nervous already. It's only me and the coach over there. It's very lonely. Like, some experiences we've had have been quite tough, but again, they're really character building. Like, I was in Switzerland at that time, just me and the coach, snowing, like a Rocky film, fucking snowing outside. No one speaking English. Nobody. Like, I've never been to a country where like nobody spoke English. Like usually they can all speak a bit of English, but nobody spoke English there. They're all speaking German. And like just walking around the snow for that the morning of the fight, trying to find somewhere that done breakfast, just looking around trying to find something. Just it was real lonely, just me and the coach. And then we get collected to go to the venue. We get collected at 2:00, and dropped off at the venue. The venue again's in the middle of nowhere in the snow. They're selling hot dogs in the shop. That's and coffee, and that's it. But we didn't fight then till 1:15 that night. So we were the main event. We were there from 2:00 to 1:15 that night. Now we speak in English. It's just every now and again run out of the dressing room, go down to see what fight they're on. But the English is very limited. But again, that was extremely lonely, and then again, the guy had lost before he got in the second ring, it was just completely psyched out. It was a really intimidating experience, but again, it was the kind of competitor in me wanted to jump on the opportunity to go over there and challenge for the world title, and against a guy, like I think he had something like 60 pro fights at the time, something like 53 wins, something like 40 knockouts. It was a savage record at the time, and I think it was my third pro fight or something like that. It was very, very inexperienced at the time in K1, but I just jumped on it, the opportunity. But again, I'd psyched myself out. It was my first 5-round fight, and I was like, do not gas out. That was the main thing. That was my main attitude. Be like you doing your first race. Don't gas out. That is your biggest fear, is gassing out. That is the biggest fear I've ever had in my head, is gassing out in the fight and being out on my feet and being finished then. So I started like a snail, just hoping to not gas out. I'm sure the fight was over. Your man had won rounds 1, 2, 3. Winded me in round 3. I was playing catch up and I was gone. I was out of the fight completely. So again, that was a massive mental learning experience. But I'm not as strong as I should be mentally. And again, it's the type of person I am. Like I've found that over the years. Whether it be even being aggressive, some people are really aggressive in the ring, and that's their personality and their experience, and that's how they are. I'm not that kind of person. Some people are really mentally confident, but they just don't have the skills to back it up. So some people, mental strength is just like physical strength in a sense. Some people have the attributes, but it always doesn't. Make you a good fighter or a good athlete. But I'm definitely mentally, I've lost fights. 100%. I can hold my hands up and say I've lost that before I even stepped in the ring. But again, you just hope it doesn't happen again. And it does build character, and you get more experience. And that last fight in Dubai, that wasn't the case whatsoever. I felt very comfortable over there. It was more of an illegal kick in the face on the ground at the second round that done me in. But we get that one in there. But that was more the fact that psyched me out. Then I felt grand physically. I was performing really well up until that point. So I think, like again, you mentally learn. So unless you put yourself in those positions that you're going to be mentally tested and you're going to be shitting yourself, you're not going to learn. You're not going to get better at it. But mentally, it's just as much as physically, to be honest. When you're at a high level, like it really is as important. It is the difference between winning and losing.
Yeah, exactly. I'd 100% just regard any comp I've done, whether I've won or whether I've lost. It's mentally, like, literally, if I've won, it's because mentally I've handled it. If I've lost, it's because I fucked up in my head. Like sometimes we'd have comps, and like you're probably the same, man. Like when you're fighting someone, you're not. I don't think you're comparing yourself to your man. If he catches you with something, you're more annoyed at yourself for something. For us, if I don't go for a big move in a competition, like, and even actually just interesting, one of the lads last week said it to me, he's like, he won a competition, but he didn't go for, your hardest move, or in your case might be a kick. And he was like, he came out of the competition disappointed because it still wasn't his best performance. So for us, I think, like, just me personally, but yeah, any competition, whether I've won or whether I've lost, it's been like a mental response to that.
Yeah, like you were saying there, Eatho, about Garo, about not going for a move. Like it could be, like, again, I'm not 100% sure how the calisthenics world competition will work, but it'd be like, say, if you're going before someone and the guy that might be going after you was supposed to be supposedly better on paper, you might, but you know you need to pull that move off if you have any chance of beating him. But at the same time, you might want to play it safe in case you slip off the bar. It's like I'm just probably gonna play it safe here and just see. But you know, you mightn't get into the next round if you do play it safe, because he's gonna come out and he's gonna go out and attempt it. And the same in a race, even Ethan. You know, again, it could be
Ethan.
Or your man ahead of me is gonna be. He's gonna set off at this pace, but I don't want to gas. It's fear of gassing again. So I'm just going to pace it a little bit more because I'm just fearful of gassing. But your man's just been brave enough to attempt that pace, and he's just going to lead the way, and he might have that mental strength. And if, you know, you're never going to work to your actual potential because you just don't have the mental strength to push yourself for long enough. Like,
yeah, 100%. It was actually the one that I spoke with there. I was like, I'm just going to leg it after the fella who's winning. I ended up finishing third in it. And I spoke to your man that won it after. I was about 30 seconds behind him, and it was that thing of I probably should have caught him. You know the way afterwards you're like, I should have. Like, I definitely had more. Like, and I spoke to him after, and he was like, I said, "Oh, I couldn't get you." Like, you know, blah blah blah. And it was like he was first. Man, I finished second. It was a bit wobbly, but he was behind them. But he just had a good start. And then obviously it was myself, and I said to him after, and he goes, "Look, he didn't push me. I was goosed." And I was like, oh, like, because I knew I had more in me. But I think after, we always do that, don't we? Like, we're always like really self-critical instead of being like, oh, well done, I've done well there.
Yeah.
You kind of go, I should have done that, should have done that. Like, even, I think I said to you before, Gero, about I'd done one of the ultras I'd done, like, mentally before, it was absolutely just done, like, and I knew in my head that I shouldn't have been there doing it. But I just said to myself, I'm here now, I'm gonna go and get it done. But like, it's kind of getting that balance of like, I probably shouldn't have done it. And it fucked me for a while after it, like, you know, my body was goosed. But just your mind can push yourself through an awful lot of shit, like, you know, like, whether it's sport or anything else, like, but yeah, we're very self-critical. So I think, like, it is important to be like, you know, sometimes to just take stock of the good things we've done in even if you lost a fight or like didn't perform well or whatever it is. It's important to take the positives away as well, isn't it? Like,
there's a thing in psychology where, you know, like, competition is viewed as a threat, but you'll either like get excited at the thought of winning, or you're more focused on the fear of failing. And like, everyone I've kind of spoke to would, once they hear that, you know, they're like, yeah, I'm definitely the first one, or I'm the second one. And like, for ones that I know that like get more excited about the thought of winning, you know, you're trying to tap into them. You're like, well, how do you perceive it that way? Or
yeah, it definitely comes. I definitely find it peaks and troughs, and even it might even peak and trough through the training camp and through the fight week. You know, you definitely have negative thoughts that creep in. You try and banish them, but you know, they're always there. They're always that devil in your shoulder, just trying to get into your head. But yeah, it's weird. We done a bit of sports psychology in college as well, and same kind of thing. It's like what is it? Anxiety. And the difference between anxiety and nerves. Yeah, nerves are when you perceive it as a threat, it's more nerves. You know, anxiety is good. You know, you get anxious up for an event if you're just excited about it. But nerves can be, you're perceiving as a threat. And again, like, or what creates your nerves? Is it fear of failing, or is it fear of being hurt, or is it, you know? And for me, it's always fear of failing. Always fear of failing. Never ever is it like fear of being hurt. Like, never once do I go into a ring going like, oh geez, this lad might hurt me, like, or he's gonna hit me with this and it might actually hurt. It's not even a thought. It's always fear of failure. Like, oh, what if I lose? Like, fucking hell, like, you know, so and so is in the crowd, or, you know, they're gonna think. And even from a visualization point of view, when I'm running the fight over in my head, it's always from an outside point of view. I'm always looking from a spectator looking at the ring. It's never like I'm never looking through my own eyes in my visualization. So it's always, we have like external thoughts of what people think, you know, which is always funny. Like, it's great just seeing again, it's always interesting and intrigues me. You know, I never worked with a psychologist, sports psychologist enough to try and improve on them things, but just the journey of life and just the skill of life has just got me better at it. But it's a really interesting subject.
Do you
Yeah,
feel
sorry,
like with you, Damo, like you'd probably feel the weight of, you know, the Irish kickboxing community when you were competing. Like I'm the same when I go abroad. I kind of know anyone who's into calisthenics over here, I'm almost representing. So that kind of fear of failure, as opposed to just, I don't really care if I lose. You know what I mean? Like the lads that we work with at the minute for competitions at that kind of 16, 17, 18, it's just about getting them not to be worried about failing, but more just go for your big stuff. And if you fail, it doesn't matter. And then eventually, like later on, like we'll focus on the winning. But at the minute, it's just getting over that psychological thing. Like,
yeah, definitely. There's two ways you can kind of look at it. You kind of look at it like, we're from Ireland, like we're not supposed to fucking win anyway. You know, there's that kind of mentality that some people might have. But yeah, I definitely see it the other way in a sense, and I feel like, like if I don't improve, you know, the Irish K1 scene, and if I don't try and bridge gaps for the next people coming through or whatever it might be, I try and get more eyes on the sport. I've like done the sport and injustice nearly, you know, and I want to try and, you know, improve it. You know, I don't want to just use that as it's because we're from Ireland, you know, and like going back to the same with the full contact when I was fighting full contact kickboxing. That's the reason why I left it, like, because it was like, I'm not gonna fucking do this. I'm not gonna, you know, do this dance year after year and then complain that you couldn't do it because, you know, I'm not gonna be that man on the fucking bar still telling you like, I couldn't do it because I was Irish. Like, I know that's the fucking facts, and the funding wasn't there, and the training wasn't there for me to get to that next level in that sport. So I just said, fuck, I'm gonna leave that sport behind, and I'm gonna try and go and do K1. There was a lot more training partners available in that sport. I felt I could do better in that sport, and I'm gonna give it my best shot. You know, I think you have to make that decision, and you have to be willing to carry the kind of the hopes and the expectations of the sport and wanting to be better on your shoulders, nearly to try and push on. And you can't kind of have that as a kind of crash mat, you know, every time you fail like that. It's because we're Irish, like, you know, have a big back. You know, you have to want to improve the sport and carry the whole, you know, nation and the hopes of the sport in Ireland on you. Like, you have to want to better them.
Yeah, because a lot of times we've gone away and, like, you know, me and another lad, like Aaron, the other kind of fell involved with me, like we would do well, but when we come back, we're nearly like that Irish thing of like, it's only because that other fella failed, or it's like, you'd say someone else didn't do well instead of being like, no, like we got to a World Cup, you deserve to be there, do you know what I mean? And whereas I know a very Irish thing is if you've done well, you're nearly like putting yourself down almost, like.
Yeah,
excuses
definitely.
ready.
Hard to take a compliment. Hard to take a compliment. People don't want to take compliments. You just want to fob it off, like, you know. And like the Irish thing of the arm couch, you know, Champions League, and the people with all the critics. It's just very easy to criticize people and tell them why they shouldn't have done this or done that. But it is a real Irish thing, you know. Build up the underdog until he is the champion, and then try and tear him down.
Yeah,
I found it like, even with my own experience, it got like with the running and whatever I'm doing, if I'm doing a long distance one or whatever I'm doing, and then like you'll meet somebody like even a couple of weeks later, and the first thing that they do is like oh, what about your body? What about your knees? What about your hips? And it's like, well, my knees and my hips are going to be in bits if I sit and do fucking nothing. Just as much as if I'm going to be running whatever amount of kilometers, like, you know. But just going back on that little point that you were saying, Damo, about like the hatred for losing, or the like what drives you, the hatred for losing, or the like want to win, like it's more like even going back to that race I had, it was like I had my excuses ready in my head before it if I was to drop out like of the race, like, you know. I think I was coming back up. I think it was about it was more than halfway there. Like it was about 50k in. Like and I twisted my ankle on a rock, like. And then it was like my brain went, "There's your excuse. There you go. You can back out now. Your ankle's swollen." And then my brain started to go, "Oh yes, like I have an excuse here to like not do it." And then like Damo was saying, it was like, "Oh yeah, but my family's waiting for me at the finish line." Like it was raining. Like all this stuff kept coming into my head going, "They're gonna be freezing waiting on you, mate." Like your brain just starts going through this stuff where it's like, what do you like? So yeah, in both senses, we do have our excuses ready, and then we have the other people then going like that negative kind of side of it, where it's like, and you notice it in people, like, you know, it's like, "Oh, your knees are gonna be in bits when you're older, mate." It's like, yeah, but like that's a future knee problem.
Yeah.
You know, that's sort of like, but
that excuse thing's good, man. We were in Belgium and got through the first round and like qualified, whatever, and then it started absolutely bucketing rain, and it was an outdoor event. And like you say, like literally, I would say, like, and I was one of them, like Aaron competing as well, but like the guy turned around and was like, "Guys, we might not be able to complete this event. You know, your safety is more important than a spectacle, and I don't want anyone getting injured." But as you say, man, for a brief second in the head, I was like, "Oh, well, like, look, I didn't make any mistakes in my first round, and I've gotten through the first round now. So if he cancels the event, it's not my fault." Like, and yeah, for that second, it was like, I have my excuse, and then obviously it did go ahead, and yeah, you're always a bit kicking it, but like I'd be walking around the hotel room, man, and damn, you're probably the same. I'd be walking around, I'm like, "What the fuck am I doing this for? Like, what am I putting myself through this for?" Like, it's in your head, and then, but when you've done it, like, it's that adrenaline rush, man. Nothing can match that. Like just training with people can't match that. Like,
yeah, it's definitely the win. The winning's the addictive thing, you know. I remember years ago. It was like a promo thing for a fight, and I was saying like I said in it that I didn't like fight, you know, and it's a weird thing. It comes across very strange, but it was true at the time. Obviously, I've matured again. It's probably 7 years or whatever more. So I've matured again. So I do like testing myself, and I do like the event. But like from a sporting point of view, like I said, we're not from areas where we're dragged up and we're fighting on the streets every day. Confrontation is completely. It's not something I ever want, you know. It's not something I'm comfortable with. It's confrontation with people. So like I don't like fighting. Like I just like winning. Like and that was like it's the winning aspect that just kept me competing and kept me in the sport. You know, it's like if I was getting smashed every day, every tournament, there's no way I would have kept going. You know, there's no way I would have continued. Like, but again, it's just that balance between the mental drive of wanting to keep it getting better in yourself, and then actually seeing some results in competition, and then being like, all right, I'm winning some, I'm losing some, I'm just gonna keep pushing through. But it becomes addictive. The feeling of that win, it is addictive, and that's why you see so many sports stars just cannot retire at the right time, because nothing can replace it. Like there's nothing else that can replace it. Like there's a kickboxer, he's actually a toy boxer mainly, but John Wayne Parr, you remember a thing where he had the video there a while back, and it's epic. Like it's a thing he's saying, like it's a real emotional video. Like John Wayne Parr, he's like 40 odd now, you know. He be coming on in life, and he's still fighting. He's had 100 wins and X amount of losses. You know, he's a monster. But he has a thing he's saying, like, I don't want to retire. Like I just don't want to retire. He says, like, wake up and like think of, you know, what the most exciting thing will probably be what I'm going to have for breakfast that day. He was like, it's just like, you know, it's just, he goes, I want to go to bed fearful of the killer that I'm going to fight. Like, you know, like he's in my mind, like every day anytime I have a minute in the middle of the day, I'm thinking about how that fight's going to play out. And I'm just breaking down the scenario. And he says it is fearful, and it's nerve wracking. But he says, like, there's no thrill like it. Like there's nothing that can replace it. Like when that's gone, it's there's just nothing that comes close to it. And it's very true. And like even when you have a fight coming up, you're fearful of the opponent. You're thinking of them all the time, playing the scenario in your head, down to bed. You know, you're just thinking of the fight constantly. So the person's in your head for X amount of time, and you constantly find yourself wanting to wish that time away. I can't wait till this fight's over, just because I can have some shit field or something, you know. Like it's that mentality. I can't wait till this is fucking over, because I can't wait to have a pizza or whatever it might be. But when it's over, you want it back.